Hello everyone, welcome to the show. I'm glad to be back here with you all for another Tuesday night. It's going to be another fantastic EdgeStream. We're going to get real fucking edgy tonight. Now, I played some very dark songs there. That band right there was Burzum. And Burzum is actually like a one-man band by the man Varg Vikernes. I don't know exactly how to say his name, but he's a Norwegian criminal, white supremacist, and all these other things. Death metal expert, death metal musician icon, whatever you want to call him. You know, he is one of the most He is one of the best early death metal icons that has ever come across Europe. So, things are about to get very dark here on this EdgeStream. And I'm coping and seething right now. I don't know how to tell you guys right now. But my girl and my top moderator right now, Lee Stewie, my girlfriend, is right now on another show. She's on another show right now. And I'm coping and seething right now. I'm having a bad time. My anxiety is at an all-time high. You know, I might be just down for a kill at this point. Things are going very wrong. She's on the Schmidt House podcast right now, and she's having a great time over there. So, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to check this out. What is going on? Where's my girl right now? She's on the Schmidt House podcast? Guys, before we even get into the topics that we have going on here, what is going on?
Anyway.
He's blocked me like 3 times and unblocked me.
Yeah. I get a lot of flack for this, but I honestly, if there was I would probably...
So this libertarian Zach Schmidt,
just to accelerate things.
A libertarian like Zach Schmidt
At least we know what we're
should
getting.
be applying the non-aggression principle to his life, but he's aggressing my principles and inviting my girl, my moderator, onto his show during my time slot. What the fuck is going on?
Under anybody, then.
Oh no!
I think it would.
This is absolutely unacceptable. Let's see what they're talking about right now.
I asked Max a couple of times, particularly around that subject, and he said, "Yeah, if that's something that's the West wants and goes through the right channels, he's like under a PPC government, you guys can go. He has
PPC,
no
they're
problem
talking
with
about the fucking
But I think as far as
PPC.
the sentiment
you
and
fucking kidding me?
the
Okay.
shift in people's perspectives,
You know.
Trudeau getting in again will make the way.
What I want to hear my girl say the 14 words on this Libertarians podcast right now. The 14 words. The 14 edgy words, right? Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cock, sucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cock, sucker, motherfucker, tits, fart, turd, and twat. The 14 edgy words by Blink-182. Yes. They were a great band back in the 2000s, but I know George Carlin had the original, dirty words that he was always talking about. The original George Carlin dirty words. But I don't think they apply right now because George Carlin is not as edgy as he used to be back in the day. We are now looking at new edgy superstars, overlords like me, who are willing to make the new edgy 7 edgy words, right? In the 1960s and 70s, they had Lenny Bruce, who got arrested for saying all these dirty words. And then George Carlin. But I think we need to revamp the comedy scene. We need to revamp the whole political scene to tell people what is really unacceptable. Because over here in 2024, right now, the things that are unacceptable, it's not libertarianism. It's being able to talk about white identity. It's being able to talk about Jewish supremacy and Jewish power. Those are the big things that you're not allowed to talk about. So those are the dirty words. There. I just had an epic spurg out. What are you guys saying in all the chats? I don't know how you guys start your shows, but I like to start my shows like this, coping and seething over my girlfriend leaving me for a libertarian. I don't know about you guys, but that's how I like to start my shows. So we're live right now on YouTube, Rumble, Odyssey, and Entropy. And if you guys want to donate, you could do that on Rumble, Entropy, or Odyssey. But Entropy is probably the best place to do it. And I will be reading all super chats that are donated in that way. So feel free to do that. Any tip is appreciated. So thank you guys if you want to do that. So I'm just going to check out each chat, see what you guys are saying. We have Dr. Genstein in the Entropy chat. He's saying, fucker, let's go. Yeah. My girl going, and I don't know if this is literally cheating or emotionally cheating or podcastically cheating on me, but it's very egregious. So, yes, I'm glad that you're on my side. Dr. Genstein, but this is going to be an awesome fucking live stream because we're going to talk about a lot of shit tonight. I'm glad to see everybody over on Odyssey and Rumble right now and on YouTube. We got a bunch of people watching, and the title tonight is What is Adam Wafting? Now, that's a play on words. We're going to be talking about a bunch of different of the most extreme right-wing groups tonight. Adam Wafting, The Base, Sonnenkrieg Division, all these different right-wing groups that probably a lot of you haven't heard of, but they're trying to pin their sins against us. But we should probably talk about what is actually going on in the state of politics right now. And then we'll figure out what's going on. It's going to be a very edgy stream. But first, I want to talk about some things that are going on within the news. So then we'll get on to that for our main topic of the night. But until then, we'll cover a few other topics. Yes, the Coots 4 do need help. I've heard that Chris Carbert has been denied bail. So I'm hoping that there is going to be some fundraisers going towards Chris Lysak, at least, from the DAG community in order to start pushing that into the stratosphere. See a lot of people over on Entropy. Dr. Genstein. Andrew Simpson is saying, "You sick, Edgy." I don't know if he's saying that I'm a sick motherfucker, but I am actually very sick right now. I just caught all the diseases. I'm getting high off of neocitrin. But I committed to doing my stream tonight. It's going to be a great stream. So holy fuck, you're in for a great time, guys. I've been just snorting neocitrin. Like, fuck the tea. I just take the neocitrin powder and I chop it up in lines and I snort all that shit. So let's fucking go. I'm high off the neo. I'm neo-edgy right now. You're right, Andrew Simpson. Okay, let's get into the first topics for tonight. Hell yeah. You guys are with me? I just want to show you what Rachel Gilmore is up to. Now, I don't give a fuck much to talk about Rachel Gilmore, but I want to show you kind of the censorship organization that is going around, that is going on amongst these people. So, obviously, I've been blocked, and I can't look at this post. However, I have saved it from an alternative account. So, Rachel Gilmore is trying desperately to cancel Tamara Leach, of all people, from going to an epic conference in Montana. So there's a speaking conference in Montana where there's about 8 speakers, and it's like a 2 or 3 day event. So no normal person is going to this event because it costs thousands and thousands of dollars to attend. Like, it's one of these events at like some kind of lodge where like you're going to be taken care of. And then each night you're going to stay, but you're going to listen to supposed anti-Semitic speakers each night. So it is pretty fucking epic. And, you know, I will support Tamara Leach and her endeavors here. But Rachel Gilmore is trying desperately to cancel her from being allowed to attend this event, not even in Canada, but in Montana. So Rachel Gilmore says, "It's been almost a week since I reported that Tamara Leach is set to take the stage at a conference featuring Holocaust deniers and diminishers." Deniers and diminishers. Oy vey, oh no! Here's what has, and more notably, hasn't happened since. So, this is a screenshot from the video that I'm about to show you. You know, I couldn't just show you the main Twitter video because she has me blocked. So, these are some of the faces of Rachel Gilmore. Now, I don't really care about Rachel Gilmore herself. I'm just trying to show you what these people are up to.
6 days ago,
And I'm a huge proponent of getting people to be able to speak at events. And in Canada, we can never have a thing like this. We can never have E. Michael Jones, Tamara Leach, the Bishop, William Richardson, and all these other people. We can never have them speak at like an event that would be able to get all the people who want to come see them, buy tickets, and have that whole infrastructure. We can do that over here in Canada. So that is why they are still going so hard at people who are literally doing this in Montana, and they're just trying to cancel everything. So, to thank the fact that we couldn't even have an event like this here in Canada, this would never happen in Canada. This event right here, even though the fact that you have to pay thousands of dollars to get into this and to listen to these people speak over a course of 2 or 3 days, you still would not be able to do this in Canada. That's how pathetic Canada is. So somebody like Rachel Gilmore, who is a Canadian agent for censorship and to combat so-called disinformation on the right wing, she has extended her duties to go and attack Tamara Leach, who is trying to attend an event and speak at an event in Montana, in another country, and they're doing whatever they can to cancel them. That's how pathetic Canada is, that this would never happen over here. We couldn't even have an event like this, even at a private, at a private property. It would probably get canceled somehow. So now they're directing all their energy to cancel Tamara Leach from being able to speak and play with her shitty band amongst these other people who they have considered to be wrong think people. So let's see what she has to say.
6 days ago, I reported that Freedom Convoy organizer Tamara Leach is speaking at the same conference as a Holocaust denier. In fact, a quarter of the 8 speakers...
A Holocaust denier? Did you mean that you labeled somebody as something and that nobody should be able to ever talk to them again? Wow.
At this conference have either denied or diminished the Holocaust. Now, since I first reported this, a few things have happened. First and foremost, Tamara Leach is still listed as a speaker at the conference on its website, despite my reporting getting shared a lot on Twitter, and 2 of the speakers...
Yeah, and your eyes are very far apart. This is very concerning. Considering how little of a brain you have in your head, how are your eyes so far apart? Because if there's brain matter pushing your eyes apart, at least that might make sense. But I don't think that anything makes sense in this situation. You're just a dysgenic fool pushing the lies of the mainstream media.
is responding to it. I also DM'd Tamara a couple of times, but she has yet to respond. But an account that appears to be the organizer of the event followed me on Twitter, liked my reporting, and used my coverage as an opportunity to further promote the event, including tagging Tamara Leach and highlighting her participation. So as far as we know, despite everything I've reported, it looks like she's still going for it. Secondly, instead of trying to distance himself from my reporting that exposed him calling the Holocaust a quote creation and a quote story, one of the speakers shared my reporting as quote-unquote advertising for the conference. So in case you thought these dudes had any shame when it comes to their rhetoric, yeah.
In case these dudes had any shame when it came to their rhetoric, E. Michael Jones has written so many books about this topic, and his new book, the Holocaust, whatever the title is called, yes, he has no shame because he very, very deliberately wrote his book with all the citations and all the different historical references embodied within that book. And yes, there was no shame involved in that, Rachel. I know that when you hear a label like Holocaust denier or far right, and that makes you think like you have a slam dunk against somebody, that they're a fucking piece of shit, that makes you think that you're on top of the world. But oh my god, you literally know nothing. You're pathetic. What have you done but label somebody something? All you have done is used... somebody told you to say this, and then you said it. And you're doing all the work of the establishment. It's absolutely fucking disgusting. Why don't you go debate E. Michael Jones about his controversial ideas? If you were so confident that he is so wrong and that he should be ashamed of his views, why don't you go debate him one-on-one? We all know that you can't do that. We all fucking know that you can't do that. So, this is all you have. Your pathetic TikTok videos. I hope Anti-Hate is paying you as a crypto employee good enough for you to debase yourself this pathetically.
Yeah. Next, an anti-hate researcher friend of mine highlighted a time one of the keynote speakers shared this event. And to be clear, this speaker is neither the Holocaust denier or diminisher.
Yeah, she's Cynthia McKinney. She used to be in the U.S. Congress as a Democrat when she realized what the fuck was going on. And then she said that Zionists did in fact help with orchestrating 9/11. And you said that in your last video. Why don't you promote that theory again? because it's 100% true.
The event she shared features white supremacist David Duke and appears to imply Jewish folks are the quote-unquote common enemy. The fact that nothing has changed in response to my reporting despite multiple participants seeing it, and the organizer himself interacting with it, that tells me this is a conference that is fully aware of who it booked and what their rhetoric is.
And that only means that Tamara Leach has made some excellent decisions in disregarding your fucking smears against her. She's done an excellent job at promoting free speech against a traitorous fucking cunt like yourself.
And it's going ahead anyways, with Leach still set to speak and play guitar with her hubby. But hey,
you're the fucking Leach.
Maybe despite the organizer himself tagging her, and despite my DM, maybe she still doesn't know? Or maybe she has seen all of this and doesn't mind sharing an event stage with these guys. Only Tamara knows. What do you guys think of all this?
Now, I know what you're saying. The left are not sending their best. The left are not sending their best because Rachel Gilmore is probably one of their best content creators. But if you look in countries like Spain, they're not setting their best either. When it comes to conservatives, Turning Point UK is saying, great news. We wish Mar the best success in her political career and her fight to maintain traditional values in Spain. Now, I don't know which traditional values say that you need to have a Down syndrome woman in office dictating what people are doing with their lives, but I don't know. It seems like that the conservative establishment just isn't getting it. I don't know what the fuck this is. And I think Steve Laws says it very well. He says, I don't even think this should be a controversial opinion. We shouldn't, under any circumstances, have people with Down syndrome in positions of power. Now, like, I'm getting kind of sheepish looking at this, trying to make a joke, but I think he said it 100%. That's what needs to be said about this situation. Like, oh my fuck. Conservatives, are you kidding me? God fucking damn. Alright. Okay, I need to step out for a second. I'm gonna play another black metal song that you guys will probably enjoy. I'll be back in about 2 to 3 minutes, and we'll go over a few more news stories, and then we'll get into our main topic of the night. All right, and we're back. Okay, we're back to the show. I just played you guys some more death metal. I felt like that's what you guys need. Because we're going to get very dark later on into the show. So I'm just trying to prepare you guys. Incremental steps, okay? Okay? Yeah, we all know about the Jew tunnels. And now, I know last week I did a comprehensive coverage of the Jew tunnels. And there was this one guy named Richard Stroker who said that he had heard that Jews were speaking in his walls. And that he wasn't going crazy, but they were speaking in his walls. And he posted that on Twitter. But then he had to delete all his posts because he was being called anti-Semitic because of it. So people were taking that as confirmation that these Jews were building tunnels and underground tunnels that invaded into this guy's walls. But what we found out is that that wasn't true. It was just an epic, fucking hilarious troll. Because these Jews were creating underground tunnels. But there wasn't actually a guy named Richard Stroker. R-I-C-H-A-R-D space S-T-R-O-C-H-E-R. I think you guys are probably getting it by this point. Dick Stroker. So, let's see how this meme got exposed.
People talking and digging below his apartment last fall. Well, he's completely full of shit, and amplifying this man is a really bad idea. Since the story of the tunnel...
Amplifying this man is a really bad idea.
Have you seen the viral tweets from that guy claiming he heard Jewish people talking and digging below his apartment last fall? Well, he's completely full of shit, and amplifying this man is a really bad idea. Since the story of the tunnel under the Jewish synagogue in Crown Heights broke on Monday, this man Richard has been getting tons of attention for quote tweeting old posts of his where he claims he was hearing Yiddish under the floor of his New York City apartment.
So this is me. This is my version of, what do you call it, when you correct one of your mistakes. I'm correcting one of my mistakes right now, okay? By showing this video. So let's go. I thought that this guy actually heard the Jews digging the tunnels around his apartment. I thought it was real. But lo and behold, I have been debunked. So let's watch this video. To just dunk on me for me not doing enough research. Woe is me. But let's hear what she has to say.
And people digging beneath him. His posts blew up, and soon Richard was getting cited in news programs and in media all over the internet. Many articles characterized Richard as a Crown Heights resident, but when you start looking into it, there are red flags all over. First of all, in this area of Crown Heights, and I know because I used to live by there, almost all residential buildings are pre-war, and they do have basements. Also, almost all the residents in that direct area surrounding the tunnels are Hasidic Jews. There's nothing about Richard's account that indicates he's a Hasidic Jew or that he ever lived in Crown Heights.
So you have to be a Hasidic Jew to have any information on this topic. Okay.
In fact, he never once posted about Crown Heights before news of the tunnels broke. His alleged tweets from last fall about Jewish people digging below him are no longer live on his account, and he claims that's because he was forced to delete them. But he says before deleting them, he took screenshots. So let's look at those screenshots. Not only do these screenshots indicate signs of manipulation, but if he really did take them from his own profile, then there wouldn't be a giant follow button there. So we know he didn't take these screenshots, and we know these tweets...
Well, what if somebody else took them who wasn't following him? You stupid bitch. Ha ha ha! Debunked. I debunked you, Taylor Lorenz. America's Rachel Gilmore.
Probably aren't real. But let's look further into the motivations of this account because it's a lot more insidious than you might think. If you've spent too much...
so insidious. So insidious. If you didn't think this was insidious enough yet, it's gonna get more insidious.
Much time online like me, you might recognize that Richard here has all the hallmarks of a Groyper account. The Groyper movement is a loose network of far-right white nationalist internet trolls who gravitate loosely around a group of influencers, most notably Nick Fuentes. Richard has posted frequently in support of Nick Fuentes over the course of his account, as well as Donald Trump. And a quick...
I saw something about Nick Fuentes online that I think you guys need to see. Right-wing Media Matters caught him in a very nasty position, throwing up his arm in a slightly more than 90-degree vertical angle. This is about 110-degree angle that his arm was straight out, like extracted with. And if you guys didn't know, that is actually hate speech. That is like so hate speech that it's not even funny. So Media Matters like totally caught him on this. They said that Nick Fuentes dined with Trump days after Trump announced his 2024 run for office. On okay, are you guys seeing this? Okay, yeah, good. On Iowa caucus night, Nick Fuentes gave a Nazi salute and discussed his willingness to commit violence for Trump. So there he is. Oh, that willingness to violence with that silly, funny face right there. And this guy, Autumn Groiper, who may or may not be Nick Fuentes, he said he was kidding. Relax. And they absolutely ratioed Media Matters. If you don't see there, that's over twice the amount of likes, over twice the amount of bars going up and down. 39K. Okay, maybe not, but the likes are doing a great job at ratioing the original Media Matters post. That's all I want to show there. Let's hear what else she has to say.
Glance through his tweets on the Internet Archive reveals a very specific ideology, and it's not pretty. Take this disgusting viral tweet he posted just last summer mocking George Floyd's death, or his many statements claiming that trans people do not and should not exist. Most of Richard's other posts are so racist, transphobic, misogynistic, and bigoted that I can't show them here without this video getting taken down. Along with most accounts in white nationalist circles, Richard also doesn't have very kind things to say about the Jews. He's promoted deeply anti-Semitic stereotypes and implied that the Jewish people control the US political system and the media. Here's a post from just last year when he claimed to be visiting the Wailing Wall in Jerusalem. If you translate the words in Yiddish next to it, you'll see that he's claiming that touching the wall will make him popular in US politics. He's also seemingly tweeted in support of Kanye West, and we all know that man's stance on Jewish people. Though Richard claims to work for Fox News in his bio, I talked to a Fox News spokesperson just this afternoon who said that no one with his name or likeness works for the network or was scheduled to ever appear on Fox News programming. He does not actually have a Rumble show either. And in case you haven't picked up by now, Richard is also definitely...
That is where I got sidetracked by this guy. I was like, awesome. This guy has an inside scoop, and he said he's gonna do a show on Rumble. So then I went to look for a show on Rumble, and I couldn't find it. And then I realized I got fooled later. Great job, Dick Stroker. Dick Stroker stroked his dick into trolling me because I didn't even know that he was trolling me. That's fucking hilarious.
Not this man's real name. Media companies quoting this man as Richard Stroker, as in Dick Stroker. Please be for real. Accounts like Richard's exist to generate viral content, often related to pop culture or trending news that will inherently spread outside their extremist circles.
Oops.
Basically, it's all a big troll,
Oops.
used to gain attention and followers and ultimately launder a hateful ideology into the mainstream. Once they get followers and the attention fades, they revert back their usual extreme.
Uh-oh, I'm guilty of hate laundering. How much hate have you laundered in the last 24 hours? You better fess up, okay? Tell me how much hate you have laundered in the last 24 hours.
Extremist posting, working
So
a steady
retarded.
stream of racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, and misogynistic content into their feeds. Unfortunately, sharing posts like Richard's without context aids in that mission. I'm not hating on TikTokers who shared these tweets initially thinking they were funny. I also thought they were really funny before I realized who posted them. But I think things like this show why media and internet literacy is so important. We also need media companies, especially those that are covering breaking news and trend.
That include Jews literally coming out of fucking sewers. Okay, you can't have any control over that. That's gonna be a meme for time immemorial. A Jew coming out of a fucking sewer is going to be a meme for everybody for years to come. Because Jewish power has not stopped at exerting itself over all the Goyim and over all of Western society. So this image right here, it's gonna come back to haunt you. I'm sorry, but it is.
trending content to do a better job of vetting who they're amplifying without context. In no way was this man Richard a regular Crown Heights resident. Already,
His name was Dick Stroker. 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 My name is Edgy D. His name is Dick Stroker. My name is Edgy D. His name is Dick Stroker. Okay? This is the kind of activism that I want to promote, okay? My name is Edgy D. His name was Dick Stroker. Just like in Fight Club, his name was Robert Paulson. He had bitch tits, but that's okay. Because we stand up for our own, like Dick Stroker. He was not insane. He did hear those Yiddish voices. He did hear those Jewish voices in his walls. Do not gaslight him for a fucking second. He was on to something. He was on to something. So I can imagine that you guys saw that debate between Gavin McInnes and Nick Fuentes, and it was about Jewish supremacy, Zionism, and things didn't go very well for the Jewish Zionism side because how can you have solidarity amongst the people who are just so disgusting, who just only care about Jewish supremacy, who only care about hiding the truth like Gavin McInnes does. That's all fucking Gavin McInnes cares about, is hiding the truth in order to hold on to his brand, censored.tv. But let's just look at the proof here. Let's look at how this debate went down. So basically, Nick Fuentes was debating Gavin McInnes, and on Nick Fuentes' side, it was Nick Fuentes, Vincent James versus Gavin McInnes and Adam King. Adam King is some like Jewish Kabbalist, so some very Jewy, like Jewish mysticist, Kabbalic, like supposedly right-wing Jew, works for InfoWars. And he was Gavin McInnes' debate partner. And it was Nick Fuentes and Vincent James versus those two. And Elijah Schaefer was the moderator between them. And this was hosted on Rumble. So it was a very good platform and a very good debate. And this blew up over last week. Very good event. And it showed basically how pathetic like people who simp for Zionism are, and how divided they actually are. And Gavin McInnes, it seems like he got red-pilled under the fact that nobody respects his philo-Semitic Jewish simping that he does as a supposed Christian. So let's see how... let's just see a quick representation about how this debate went. So this is Vincent James, with Vincent James and Nick Fuentes on the side that they're against Jews. This is a great question that Vincent asked pretty deep into the debate.
Islam or Catholicism? And it was Islam or Catholicism. Which one would you get rid of?
Great question.
Duh.
What?
What'd you say?
Catholicism.
What? What? What?
Yeah. This Kabbalist Jew that Gavin thought was on his side, he'd rather get rid of Catholicism than Islam. But, like, the whole psyop that is trying to connect right-wing people with each other to say that they should be sympathetic for Israel says that they should be against Islam. Islam is the true enemy of the West. But this guy just revealed himself. Like, this is absolutely insane. So let's look at the next clip.
Gavin, come on.
I have a
Don't
very
be like
strong-
that.
Listen,
Don't
let me speak.
abandon me.
I
We
have a
were
very
oppressed for
strong
2,000
commitment to
years.
retrieving the lost artifacts of the Jewish people, which are held by the Vatican.
Yeah, I'm out.
I don't think that the Vatican represents. Let me ask you a question. Here's
Let's
a real
go.
Question. Here's a real question about Catholicism.
I
okay?
knew that question would be.
Good one, Vince. I appreciate it. So
There he
now
goes.
the debate. All right, whatever.
I think he's joking.
You guys do whatever.
I think
you
he's
want.
drunk.
But, you know, the
Right.
truth is
Injustice to the Jew.
Imagine being on your side when the whole premise of the Judeo-Christian alliance is that, like, Jewish people and Zionists that are in support of Israel are supposed to ally with Christians and the evangelical Christians in order to get whatever fucking retarded, like, religious. I don't even know what they think is going to happen, like some kind of Armageddon or some kind of new Jewish Messiah. I don't even know what these Judeo-Christian evangelicals are trying to get. But this guy doesn't even respect you enough to even give lip service to that. He just thinks you're scum, and he thinks that Christians are just so anti-Semitic that he can't even give you that. And that's what Gavin was, he was hoping for, that this guy cared about the Judeo-Christian evangelical Zionist connection, even though Zionists, if you go and try and interview them in any survey, they say that they don't give a fuck about Christians, that they actively hate them. Now, this is a perfect example of somebody who does that. So, wow. It couldn't have happened in a more obvious fucking way. So that was something hilarious that happened on Friday. A great debate. It really showed a lot of people's true colors. Now, Coach Red Pill, Gonzo Lira, he died a couple days ago. And this guy, he was very cool. I think he was cool. I've been a fan of him since about 2016. So, since about 2015, 2016, this guy, Gonzo Lira, he's been known as Coach Red Pill. He's been making videos on YouTube about being red-pilled and how to attract females, how to like all the best politics and stuff, you know, pro-Trump, pro-this, pro-that, countering feminists, countering BLM, SJWs. He was making all kinds of videos and he was about 50 years old when he started. And this guy, when he first started making videos, he only wanted to constantly improve his quality of videos. So he would make videos where he had like 4 or 5 different camera angles, even though he didn't even need to do that. And that's part of what makes Coach Red Pill so fucking funny. That he had so many different camera angles, even though he didn't need to do those. But this guy, his content career led him into a very difficult place. He married a woman that lives in Ukraine, and he's been calling out the war in Ukraine since it started. I remember as soon as the Ukraine war started out between Ukraine and Russia, he was in like a 5-star hotel in Ukraine, and he was filming all around, showing all the American journalists saying, "You are system pigs, Ukrainian system pigs." And he was doxing all these journalists. He was doing actually very good video content, calling out the Ukrainian regime and how they were part of NATO, how the whole system was corrupt. And yes, there's corruption on both sides when it comes to like people who are on the Ukrainian side and on the Russian side. But I think Coach Red Pill did a great job at accurately calling out the corruption that was involved on the Ukrainian side of this conflict, including, like, he did many good informational videos about how Kolomoisky was the Ukrainian billionaire who was expelled from Russia, Jewish Ukrainian billionaire who was expelled from Russia, who funded the channel that allowed the actor Zelensky to have his #1 rated TV show on Ukrainian television, that eventually led him to becoming the top Ukrainian star in Ukraine and then become the leader of Ukraine. All from predictive programming. Zelensky was the leader of Ukraine within television shows with Ukraine that was funded by Kolomoisky, and then eventually Zelensky became the leader of Ukraine during the Ukrainian war, which was funded by people who were funding all the television and all the media establishments by Kolomoisky. It's fucking crazy. So, what I'm trying to say is that Coach Red Pill, this guy Gonzola Lira, he was doing all of this and expressing this propaganda, which is true, while living in Ukraine. And eventually, he got nabbed up by Ukrainian securities because his wife was Ukrainian, and that's why he was living there. And I think he honestly had a death wish. This guy is like an American fucking hero, or he's a truth hero. It seems like he does not care about the fact that what he was saying was going to get him killed. He did not have to live in Ukraine. He could have dipped out. He could have come back to America. He didn't have to do what he was doing. But I've heard that Gonzola Lira, Coach Red Pill, that he was about to die. That he had some kind of terminal condition, so he didn't care about living or dying, so he wanted to go out with a bang. So eventually he got nabbed up by Ukrainian security services, and he died about last week in Ukrainian prisons for health reasons. And Tucker had been talking to his father about it like a week ago. So this is what he said. This is what Tucker said a week ago. Gonzola Lira Sr. says his son has died at 55 in a Ukrainian prison, where he was being held for the crime of criticizing the Zelensky and Biden governments. Gonzola Lira was an American citizen, but the Biden administration clearly supported his imprisonment and torture. Several weeks ago, we spoke to his father, who predicted his son would be killed. And yes, he did. This kind of reminds me of Otto Warmbier. Otto Warmbier, he was part of an American tourist guide that went and visited North Korea. So Otto visited North Korea, and he tore down a poster in North Korea. And then that whole situation, as many people know, ended up with him being detained. And then when he was brought back to his family, he was in a coma. And then he died. So, if you end up in a medical situation in one of these foreign countries, it often means that they just fucked you up or killed you in some fucked up, retarded way. And then they gave you back to your own people, saying like, oops, what happened? But I don't know what happened here. It could be either way, like, considering the facts of the situation. Now, me personally, I like Coach Red Pill. I used to watch his videos early on, and this is one of the funniest things that he taught me early on. So, this is my personal eulogy to Coach Red Pill. Coach Red Pill, Coach taught me a lot of things, and this is the most important thing he ever taught me.
dogs. Now, what do I mean? Women.
I remember when he posted this video on YouTube and it got immediately banned. And I was like, what the fuck, YouTube? Let's see.
Women are like dogs. Now, what do I mean? You have to treat them like you would treat a dog. You ever go up to a dog and you're afraid of the dog and the dog senses it? And the dog gets up and smells the fear coming off of you and starts barking at you and snarling at you and showing its teeth. It's pissed off at you and doesn't like you. And you're like all insecure and tentative, like, I'm sorry, hi, can I get you a drink? I just want to be friends, please don't bite me. And what's that woman gonna do? She's gonna snarl at you. She's gonna look at you like, ew, creepy, ew, rough. If you're firm and self-confident, they respond. They get relaxed, see? Just like dogs. You go up to a dog, you know, a big, mean Doberman Pinscher, right? Or whatever, some Germanic, what's a Rottweiler, right? Or a pit bull, you know? You go up to that dog, you know, and you say, hey, don't fuck with me, dog. So that's what you have to do. You have to treat women like dogs.
Well, thank you, Gonzalera. I'm glad I could give you an eulogy like no other. But now he's dead and gone, and that's how we have to remember him. We cannot remember him by his faults. We have to remember him by the best things that he's ever said, which was that video that we just saw like 2 seconds ago. That was the best advice he's ever given in his life. Because going to Ukraine and shilling for the Russian government and then getting imprisoned by the Ukrainian government, it's not good advice to tell the truth in the face of people who are going to throw you in prison and then let you die from diseases. So, I think my eulogy was a little bit better. But anyways, I'm going to play you guys a little bit of a song, and then we're going to get into the last part of the stream, which is the main topic, which is analyzing Wafting division and all these far-right extremist people that they're trying to smear every right-wing person with. But we're going to actually do a good faith deep dive into seeing what these people are actually about. Okay? And normally you're not going to get that. So, I'll see you guys in a second. But we're going to play some music for now, and then we're going to come back in a second. Okay, and we're back. Hell yeah. I needed to give you guys a bit more of a taste of some black metal before we get into the next topic, because that's where we're going. We're going to get very black. We're going to get very dark. And at this point in the stream, I have to say, I do not condone any of the things that are being said from here on in. But I'm going to try to talk about it in a responsible way. But I don't know. I don't know how things are going to go from here on in. Let's fucking go. This is going to be good, guys. This is going to be fucking good. We're going to be talking about Adam Wafting. So I want to divert your guys' attention to this. So, over here in Canada, Adam Wafting may be a thing. And they're saying that people within Active Club Canada have people from Adam Wafting getting into their club. So, I'm just going to read the entirety of this RCMP output that they put. It says, 2 Ontario men arrested on terrorism charges. And this is December 8th, 2023. It says, 2 Ontario men who are alleged to have participated in the creation of terrorgram collective manifestos in Adam Wafting Division recruiting videos in support of far-right extremism and the neo-Nazi terrorist movement have been arrested by police. The RCMP INSET, Integrated National Security Enforcement Team for GTA Southwest, conducted an 18-month investigation, executing several search warrants in the Niagara and Toronto regions. Investigators uncovered evidence supporting criminal charges against 2 individuals. So, in 2021, Adam Wafting Division became a listed terrorist entity in Canada. After the listing, many former Adam Wafting Division members joined Active Club Canada. Members of Active Club Canada have been observed performing combat training exercises in local community parks, as pictured below. Members of the group have ties to a group called the Hammerskins in Durham region. As a result of evidence collected against the 2 individuals are being charged with the following offenses. One individual is charged with like 8 different charges, including like 8 different terrorism charges. So this could be equal to like 2 or 3 different life sentences, though nothing is specific about this to say what he actually did. And then one of these people here, the other individual, is being charged with 1 count of participation in the activities of a terrorist group, contrary to one specific part of the criminal code. So they were held in court, and then they were given bail hearings. And I'll tell you the result of their bail hearings. The guy who was charged with this was let out. The guy who was charged with this was not let out. So I'm going to read forward to see what the RCMP is saying about the situation. The RCMP would like to thank CSIS for their assistance throughout the investigation. The intelligence provided by CSIS was instrumental in supporting this investigation. We would also like to thank FinTrack, Canadian Border Services Agency, TPS Toronto Police Services, Niagara Regional Police, and Ontario Provincial Police and Public Prosecution Service of Canada for their indispensable support throughout the investigation. Our partnerships continue to grow and help keep all Canadians safe. So all these different police units were involved with this incarceration and with this investigation right here. And they go on to say fast facts about these arrests that happened on December 8th, 2023. So one individual was arrested for being involved with terrorist groups. The other was arrested for 8 different things. Now, nothing was specific about like making weapons or plotting an attack. It was all like very specific things about being involved with a terrorist group. So let me just give you an example. So 3 counts of commission of hate crimes offenses for a terrorist group. What does that even fucking mean? 2 counts of participation in the activities of a terrorist group. Facilitating terrorist activity. How is that different from any of the first things? Are we just like piling the same kind of charges on top of each other at this point? 1 count of counseling the commission of a terrorism offense. So there is nothing that's clear anywhere here about what this guy was actually doing. And it's just as unclear as what you see here. Like, we know that they are claiming that these guys are involved with Atomwaffen, but we're going to dig deeper in to see what they're actually saying about these people. So if we look at the fast facts, it says the Atomwaffen Division is an international neo-Nazi terror group originating out of the United States. The group has expanded to the United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, and elsewhere. The group calls for acts of violence against racial, religious, and ethnic groups, police, and bureaucrats to prompt the collapse of society. Atomwaffen Division is also known as the National Socialist Resistance Front. And now, here they're pushing their boundaries a bit further. They say, the Active Club Network are decentralized cells of white supremacy and neo-Nazi groups, which are active in many U.S. states, with multiple chapters in other nations, including Canada. The network was created in January 2021, and it promotes mixed martial arts to fight against what it asserts is a system that is targeting the white race, as well as a warrior spirit to prepare for a forthcoming race war. And the third point, the Terrorgram Collective is a group of Telegram channels that share neo-fascist ideology and that produce and share manuals on how to carry out racially motivated violence. Terrorgram channels have been linked to the Atomwaffen Division and other neo-Nazi and far-right groups. So these are who they're busting right now. These are probably the main people that they're going after. But from what I've seen, is that they're trying to pin everybody to look like these people. But at the same time, I don't even know if these people here are actually guilty of the things that they're saying that they're guilty of. Because I know that they attack us, and then they say that we're right-wing terrorists, even though that we promote peace, and that all we're really doing is saying that if you could be pro-black, you could also be pro-white. Like, that only makes sense, especially considering the fact that they say that we can't be that. We can't be that. You can't be pro-white. That's illegal. That's bad. Well, guess what? That's exactly why it needs to be promoted. Because if you think that we can't be like that, that means that we are being oppressed at this specific moment in history. You know, white people have never been oppressed beyond like a century from now. But now, given this last century, we're being fucking oppressed, and we need to stand up and be pro-white. It's very fucking obvious. But at the same time, they're trying to group everybody who's pro-white into all the most extreme people. And I think when I look at this report here, they're talking about people who have been arrested for supposed activities in neo-Nazi groups, specifically Atomwaffen. But Atomwaffen is a group that has been banned since like 2021. So they're trying to say that people who were involved with that group are now involved with Active Club, which is the picture that we're seeing right here, right now. But how do you know that's the same ideology that was banned and considered a terrorist group right in that moment? And now you're attacking another group because people are coming to a different group? How do you know that they have the same ideology? Is it true that the Active Club endorses terroristic views? I really don't think so. And I think that the RCMP is lying. The RCMP is lying right here. And they're using the fact that they can't find these specific people that they're looking for. They can't like pinpoint them as much as they want to. So now they're going to attack Active Club. Now, it seems like we got to do a bigger deep dive into what all these different ideologies are to figure out what is actually going on. Because obviously the feds are going after these people for a reason, you know? For a fucking reason. So basically, the feds think that these people are part of, like, they think that they are part of these groups that are like Atomwaffen, the base, all these different groups that are involved with this book called Siege. This book called Siege, which was written by this guy named James Mason, which means that, like, this guy was talking about, in his book, doing random attacks against infrastructure and different races of people, and then glorifying them, and then that is part of their that is part of their ideology, and then that is part of their artwork, and it goes on from there. So if we look at the Atomwaffen division, we can look at what the first paragraph of their page says. It says, Atomwaffen Division is an international far-right extremist and neo-Nazi terrorist network. It was formed in 2013, and it went across all of the U.S. and many different countries all across Europe and even in Canada. You know what? I think it would be a lot easier to see these people talk about their own ideology in person. So, this will make it a lot funnier. I can't believe that this was allowed on YouTube.
Welcome to Bob Larson Live. Tonight.
And to be honest, I'm trying to talk about this stuff in the most responsible way without getting myself in trouble, without getting other people in trouble. And it's making me sweat a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. This shit is crazy shit. Talking about Atomwaffen or talking about all these different groups, it's pretty fucking crazy. Because this is the most extreme of the extreme that I don't agree with. But I do agree with some of their fundamental ideology about how, yes, we are in a struggle to save the white race. I do agree with that. I do not agree with the violence. I do not agree with the random acts of violence that some of the people within this ideology claim to want to perpetrate. So I'm going to say that right now. I'm going to let that out and say that that's what I believe. I do not believe that shit. But I'm going to show you an interaction that can get us moving forward. So right here, this is Bob Larson. So Bob Larson is like kind of a wingnut Christian. A Christian who wants to like exorcise the demons out of a lot of people. But he's facing off against James Mason. So James Mason is the person who wrote Siege. And Siege is like the founding ideology behind the people who started Adam Wafting. So these are the people who think that their white supremacist ideology demands that they start committing lone wolf attacks against multiple different people for whatever reason. So we're going to see a debate between a wingnut Christian preacher who likes to do exorcisms against people versus James Mason, the author of somebody who wants people to commit neo-Nazi terror against people. So this is like old school TV in the style of Jerry Springer. I can't believe that this is still on YouTube right now. So let's watch this and see how it starts.
Join in with us as a soldier, as a sword bearer, or as a commander. You're going to have a lot of fascinating information that simply cannot come anywhere else. Now, I want to say a word about chats. We are looking forward to chats tonight, all right? I want to give you the rules because we got a lot of you guys trolling out there. So that's all right. That's fine. But we want some serious questions about the ideology of Mr. James Mason. First of all, no profanity, no slang words. You know what I mean? No N words, K words, that sort of thing. Off limits. But we do want to hear your exchange, whether it's combative. You don't have to agree with me. You don't have to agree with him. If you have something to say, say it. Get started right now. I'll jump into the chats right away. But no hate words, no hate statements, and no advocacy of violence of any kind. No abusive language. Combative, okay. Agree, okay. With him, with me, whatever. We'll hear from you. We'll get to as many chats as we possibly can tonight. But I do want to emphasize, we're going to keep an eye on what you say because some of you are going to have a tendency, I already see you out there trolling in the chats, to take this thing to a place we're not going to take it. We're going to have as much of a reasoned, if that's possible, discussion between the two of us. So please join us in the chats. And Facebook, TikTok, come on, man, what are you waiting on?
I don't know what he's talking about. If he wants to get people from TikTok to come here. This is going to be fucking crazy, guys. I'm sorry, I didn't know how to prepare you guys for this, but this is going to be fucking good, okay? So this is Bob Larson, a Christian preacher who's big on YouTube, who likes to perform exorcisms on people, versus James Mason, the most despicable neo-Nazi who advocates for people to do lone wolf attacks on the system, and he's written about that in his books called Siege. Siege is like, it's a collection of newspapers that he's done for white supremacist organizations throughout like a decade or so, and it's how to attack the system. And this book that he has put together has been kind of like a foundational literature for groups like Adam Wafting. So that is why I'm showing you this. And it's hard to explain because I'm just trying to learn all of this in the moment. I've done all this research recently, but this is going to be very funny, very interesting. I promise you this is going to be good. So I'm going to jump to the point where he comes in, and I can't believe that this is still on fucking YouTube.
Question coming up here. Thank you very much. But I want to go to James right now. Can we pull him up on the screen, please? James.
So this guy apparently interviewed him 30 years ago on whatever Christian radio, and it was fucking epic. And there's actually video that you could find about this, probably from the 1980s or so, where he interviewed James Mason back in the day. But this is fucking epic right here.
Can't see him. Need him pulled up on the screen. All right. Welcome, James.
It's been a long time no see, although I think I've seen you on the Dr. Phil show and a few other sources.
Yeah. Well, I'm still very much alive and well. As Mark Twain said, the stories of my demise have been greatly exaggerated. I guess yours as well. So you're still active in doing what you do, spewing hate all across the country, coast to coast, right?
Yes.
And proud of it.
And proud of it. Yes, indeed.
You know, here's a question. What's your opinion? I'm not sure they got this right. Vikernes and the Indo-European paganism in general. So you know that Hitler was into that. You know that he was a Nordic ideologue.
He said Vikernes. That's who I played at the beginning of the stream. I played some very base Nazi death metal. What you gonna do about it, bitch?
Of paganism, and that there were all these secret ceremonies going on in the Third Reich of worshiping Odin and Thor. Now you know that, don't you?
I know. I know the dead opposite, and I know the men who knew him best said he was the most Christian man they ever had met.
Hitler.
Yes.
What is your definition of a Christian man? He slaughters 6 million people, and
that's a lie. That's been demonstrated. That's been demonstrated to be a lie.
By whom?
By anybody and everybody. How about the International Red Cross? How about these liars themselves? You know, if you even, in many countries, if you even question that, you go to jail. You know, the truth has nothing to fear.
So I want to stop it right there, and I want to make a clarification. This guy, James Mason, on the left side of the screen, he is considered a terrorist organization in and of himself in Canada. So this man on the left is a terror organization, just his name. He's the second person, in Canada to be considered a terrorist organization by just his fucking name. So, yeah. We're talking some big shit over here. Let's keep it going.
I've been to...
So I'm going to skip forward to some other entertaining shit. Now, this is like back in the day when you would have Jerry Springer type shit on a TV show. Like, I don't agree with either of these people. I probably agree with more on the guy on the right, Bob Larson, even though he's a fucking crazy Christian who believes in exorcists. But I agree with him against the fucking psycho-genocidal statements of James Mason. Even though James Mason has some opinions about, about the whole situation that I agree with. Not the genocidal ones, of course.
And psychologically polluted. These whites in this country have become.
All right, okay. I want to get the audience involved here. Brew Moment, thank you for the super chat gift of $10. Question, James, what is your opinion of the political polarization and radicalization that we're seeing today? What is it?
It's great. Joseph Tomasi, an old friend of mine, said, heighten the contradictions.
Joseph Tomasi was a hate monger.
Let's get clarity. Let's don't have any confusion any longer. Step up and take your side.
Joseph Tomasi. This is Joseph Tomasi. This is your hero, all right?
Yes.
Yeah.
He printed out pages from Wikipedia.
This is from your book. I mean, sir, I can look at those eyes. I'm an exorcist. That man has demons. He is full of demons. You can see it in every picture. But I want to quote him. This is your hero. Let's quote him. We do not wish for law and order, but for law and order means the continuing existence of this rotten rip-off capitalist Jew system. We wish for anarchy and chaos which will enable us to attack the system and her big brother pigs, etc., etc., etc. There's your hero. Your hero.
Yes.
You know what?
Yes.
You know what? You need to get saved and make Jesus
There we have it.
your hero and repent
already
of your
done that.
sins before
Yeah, I've
you
already
die
done
and
that,
go to
Bob.
hell.
I've already done that.
When did
You're a
you
little
do?
late.
When did
You're a
you
little
do?
late. I've
When
already
did
done
when
it.
did you? You're not a repentant sinner. You're a
Oh, I haven't committed any sins. I haven't committed. Why should I repent? I'm right on track.
You've never committed any sins?
Oh, some garbage thing. Maybe when I was a kid.
Oh, now wait a minute.
Yeah, maybe I like stole a pencil from my classmate or something.
We don't want to get too ad hominem here, but you did spend some time behind bars, okay?
Yeah, but hell, man. I mean, look at John the Baptist. Didn't he do a little time behind bars? Look at Jesus.
Not for doing what you were alleged to have done. Okay.
Well, what was I alleged to have done? Tell me
Well,
that.
apparently, you were found guilty of sex with a minor, and
No, I
that
wasn't
is
found guilty, Bob. I took a plea. I took a plea to that to save my life. And the minor.
What were you afraid? Who was going to kill you?
You want to let me talk, Bob, or you want to just go on?
Go ahead. Tell me.
How old do they estimate Mother Mary was when she bore Jesus?
Oof.
What's the
14, 15 years
Oh
old?
no.
I was with young women of marriageable age. Marriageable age, Bob.
Oh no. Marriageable age. So, I think this is probably the ideology that these very far right Adamorph extremists are involved with. I'm just showing this. Okay?
Marriageable age. And believe me, at the age of 70...
Where in the regime of the Taliban?
Pardon?
In the regime of the Taliban, yeah, they go for marriageable age about that.
Yeah, but I'm asking you, how old was Mother Mary when she bore Jesus?
Okay, all right. Well, we can talk about the cultural cross-referencing that. All right, I want to bring in the chest. The Liberator, whoever that is, says.
The Liberator. What does he
ask him
say?
about the Order of the Nine Angels. Well, you and I know what that's all about.
I've heard of that. They're pretty extreme, pretty right-wing, pretty racialist.
Wait a minute. You're calling somebody else extreme and right-wing?
Yeah. Well, okay, you tell me. You tell me then.
Well, I'm just saying, who is any more extreme than you, sir?
Nobody, I hope.
Well, there you have it. He hopes that nobody is more extreme than him. But I want to show you, if people are proposing this kind of shit in your right-wing group, I want to show you very much so, especially if they're proposing that there's some occult element or some satanic element. I want to show you what may be happening. So there's a specific part of this Atomwaffen division. This Atomwaffen division called the Temple of Blood. And this guy infiltrated himself as one of the top members of the Atomwaffen division, which is involved with all these people getting arrested, whether it's in Canada or all across the fucking Western nations, right? And this guy, he founded this offshoot group of the Order of Nine Angles, which is another satanic group that was involved with the Atomwaffen division, but Temple of Blood. So this is the guy himself, the guy who sounds completely fucked himself, is saying that this is a fed up satanic subversion. So in 2021, Joshua Caleb Sutter, the leader and founder of the Temple of Blood, believed to be an offshoot of the Order of Nine Angles, was revealed through court documents to be a longtime FBI informant. The defense counsel for accused terrorist and Adam Wafting member Caleb Cole found that Sutter's cooperation with the FBI began in 2003. So you have an FBI agent, Joshua Caleb Sutter, who's an informant, who began his participation with the FBI in 2003 when he was like 18. So he's like a 40-year-old man. And all throughout that whole time, he's been involved with informing on people for money for the FBI. And as of 2021, he has received over $100,000 from the FBI for his work as an informant. And this was only found out because he got another guy involved with the Adam Wafting, the same people who are derived from the ideology that we were just looking at right there. He was paid $100,000 to facilitate that. And you see the attorney of the guy who is getting put in jail over this, he says that the CI has been paid $78,133 plus an expense advance of $4,378 since the February 2018. Integrally linked with this kind of shit. The FBI is promoting the worst parts of this ideology that even this guy who is considered like a terrorist organization, this guy's name, James Mason, is considered a terrorist organization in Canada, and even something that he disavows is being paid for by the FBI to entrap more people. So let's see what he has to say about them again, because it's 100% correct.
We can talk about the cultural cross-referencing that. All right. Okay.
Yeah, but hell, man. I mean, look at John the Baptist. Didn't he do a little time behind bars?
Not for doing what you were alleged to have done. Okay.
Well, what was I alleged to have done? Tell me that.
We can talk about the culture.
Lord Jesus.
What's the
14 or 15 years old? I was with young women.
Okay, this is fucking disgusting. Let's just get to the next part of this.
Speak for itself. Back to Siege. It says, your time is up.
So this is part of his book that this guy Bob Larson is exposing.
Speak for itself. Back to Siege. It says, your time is up. All right? These are pages I photocopied from your book. All right? Got to get my readers on to make sure. Your time is up. Willing, active participants in formulating or implementing anti-white policies which have brought racial disaster. These acts constitute high treason. The penalty is death by hanging. The revolutionary government of the United States. These are not just a bunch of ill-advised people trying to storm the Capitol on the 6th of January. These are people that you are encouraging who are violent ideologues who, if they got into power, would hang anybody who posed them. And that includes God-fearing Christians. You want to kill us? Is that what you want to do? You want to get us out of the way?
The last time we spoke was nearly 30 years ago. Haven't you been able to detect the downhill slide this country has taken since that time?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the problem. That's, you see, you slip in these little bits of reason and sense into your ideology.
Well, I try to talk reason and sense. Yes, I do. But what do you think it would take to clean this country up? Do you think it would take prayers and candles and teddy bears, or would it take some killing?
Don't killing. Whoa.
Whoa.
And it's not killing, it's who's doing the killing and who's getting killed.
Did I detect a manifestation of spirit of murder in you when you said that? Wow.
You might have, and it wouldn't be murder anyway because it would be fully justified.
By whom? By this new National
By
Socialist
God
government?
Himself.
Huh?
By God Himself.
God.
He said, wait a minute. He said, I am holy. I want you to be holy as well. And what does holy mean? But separate. Separate from these other colored races.
All right. Okay. All right. In your book.
How is this ever allowed on YouTube whatsoever? This used to be the kind of shit that you would see on like Jerry Springer or Phil Donahue back in the 80s and 90s, but like, holy fuck, I can't believe that this was allowed on YouTube. But yes, I do want to hear these people battle it out, and I want to see somebody better than Bob Larson, the Exorcist, countering James Mason's theories, because I think that I could counter James Mason's theories better than somebody like Bob Larson can, right? And now I want to talk it out. I want to talk it out because I feel like the feds, they're coming after everybody, and they're using the most extreme situations as a way to come after everybody, right? Right? But that's just not the case. Like, we know that we have a right to defend ourselves, and to defend ourselves in a way that is considered far right. Far right. And far right means that white people defending themselves are going to be persecuted. So as soon as you say anything about like mass immigration, as soon as you say anything about DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and all these programs, they're going to come and attack you. And now, like, even in Canada, you can't say anything about this kind of shit in Canada. So, say you support the Pierre Poilievre conservative government. Well, Pierre Poilievre has never said anything to defend the situation that is going on, that is anti-white, that is against white people. He's never said anything against mass immigration. In fact, he thinks that mass immigration is good as long as they're building more houses. That is completely insane, and it doesn't even acknowledge any of the rudimentary problems that are going on within Canada. And anybody could just point out to him within a second what the actual problems are. But the conservatives, they have no interest in trying to solve these problems. So, like, there's no political solution within Canada. Like, if you vote for the conservatives or the liberals, you're not going to get anywhere with these kind of things. So you have to link up with people who are outside of the system, who are going to create these extra groups. These groups that are outside of the system. It's very obvious, right? And that includes these active club groups. But as we saw earlier, that the RCMP is trying to connect any active club group with groups like Adam Wafting. They're trying to connect all right-wing people together. So if you've talked to this person, then you've been in association with this person. So you're all connected together, and we're going to connect you to the worst of the worst that we could possibly do, right? But at the same time, I do think that they're trying to push people out of the mainstream conversation. And I want to say right now that being pro-white, there's nothing wrong with being pro-white. Think about the liberals. The liberals, the NDP, and the conservatives, they see nothing wrong with people being pro-black or being pro any other minority group. They see nothing wrong with any other groups being pro their color, their culture, their religion. They see nothing wrong with that, and they want to support that. Even the conservatives, they promote that. Like Pierre Poilievre supports every single Indian or whatever other group that comes across his path that he thinks he could grift off of. So why would it be wrong for white people to coalesce together to become white people in solidarity with each other? You know that there's nothing wrong with that. And the only thing wrong with that is all these psychological, sociological subversions that have happened throughout society, throughout all the decades that we've experienced this transformation. But then, at the same time, since they've pushed the fact of being pro-white, since you can't be pro-white without being illegal, since as soon as you say you're pro-white, you will get pushed out of society. Because of the fact that if you say you're pro-white and you try to create a group of people who are gonna like solidify upon that principle, and you get pushed out of society, then everybody who's getting pushed out of society based on similar principles are going to be lumped together. And then you're going to get the most extreme lumped in with the people who are just trying to advocate for their own race. So then where do we go from there? It seems like they're trying to make advocacy of pro-white politics illegal so that it pushes people towards being involved with this James Mason-esque siege politics. These politics that are involved with the Atomwaffen, they're trying to push people towards that direction so that they can ultimately, like the state can ultimately clamp down upon them. I think that's very fucked up. Like, we should be able to advocate for our own group, for our own race, just as blacks are, just as Latinos are, just as Asians are. But they won't let us do that. And then they attack us. And then, since the fact that they're making it so illegal for us to just advocate for simple advocacy for our own group interests, it makes it that much more difficult. And then we get involved with people who are doing all these other things. So I'm going to jump to another section of this stream right here.
Black and the Patriot Imperium. What about it?
Never heard of them.
Never heard of them, all right?
Never heard of them.
Well, Altus says, Mr. Mason, what is your opinion of Iron Gates, Liber 333, and 09A literature in general? You heard of that?
Iron Gate. Is that Swiss's book? Oh yeah, well that Iron Gate thing was created by a known agent of the FBI, and it's the most violent and sexually perverted thing I've ever read. But this guy is now known to have been FBI, and that's what I think of that.
Okay, the Babylon Lion. Hold on.
And like I said before, like, if you're involved with people like the guy on the left, and you think his ideology is good, the feds are just going to look at what you're saying, and then they're going to agree and amplify in order to get involved with what you're saying, in order to eventually entrap you into some sort of situation where it screws everybody over. So that's one thing that I want to say about this whole situation. Okay. And one more thing, just to like end this all off. I know I've shown a lot of extreme shit here, but I want to say that yes, I think that people should advocate for their own people and their own race and all this stuff. But a good indicator on how to do this is like the distinction between radicalism and extremism. And Josh Neal in his book American Extremism did a great job in explaining this. Specifically saying that like radicalism is a way to show people how they can go about like going towards like a positive future in which there's like a cause and effect relation into the steps you need to take going forward, right? So radicalism involves looking forward into the future and something that will go in a positive, in a logical direction. And in contradiction, extremism, like extremism versus radicalism, extremism is something where it's just like terrorism. Terrorism doesn't accomplish anything. Terrorism basically means that you commit this act of terror and it scares people, and then you think that that makes you win in the end, but it really doesn't. And especially for people on our side, despite like all you have to think about is like the fact of these siege people thinking that if you commit random acts of terror, that's going to make society collapse in the future, and that eventually you're going to be able to take power because of that. That would never happen. Like, that is completely illogical, despite all the moral like, despite how morally illogical that is in the first place, right? But what I'm saying is that like it's extreme, because if you go and commit random acts of terror, that's not going to make society collapse in the way that you think it is, and it's not going to make you come into power on top of that, like once society collapses. It's just completely ridiculous. So that's why it's so extreme. And I don't know why anybody falls for this ideology in the first place. Why would any of these people fall for this ideology thinking that, like, destroying society is going to make it collapse, and then eventually they're going to come into power and then be the ones who are going to, like, save the day? It's absolutely fucking ridiculous. And that's why I really think that the best thing that you can do is to tell the truth every chance that you can get, and to be prepared for these situations. Because there's a difference between these people. When these people might be being persecuted for things that they're not actually doing, right? They might actually just be preparing for the fact that the government is going to come after them. But then, maybe they download one thing too many, and then when they get raided, it seems like they're going to go commit an act because, the government uncovered this one thing that they had in their, like at their house or something. Right? So we do need to help these people who are getting persecuted by the government, who are trying to prepare against against the tyranny against them. But at the same time, we have to be careful, because there are so many people who are disillusioned, who will rebel against the government in like an insane way. And how do you justify somebody who is going to go commit like an insane violent act? You can't. There's so many disillusioned, like mentally ill people out there that you can't defend these people. And yeah, and I can understand that they need to be stopped by the powers that be, right? Okay, I've been going for about 2 hours now, and I don't know how much more I could say about these people. I've got to look into them a bit further, but at the end of the day, I think that some of these people are being politically persecuted. Like these Adam Waffen people, they're trying to connect Adam Waffen to the Active Club. And at the same time, the Active Club is, from what I see, it's filled with people who are pro-white activists. And the government wants to clamp down on anybody who is pro-white. And I think that is their ultimate goal. And I think that the government would ultimately love if more people were committing violent acts in the name of pro-white insurgency. So that's why I think it's so bad when this like weird, disgusting ideology that I've never met anybody who believes in the stuff that this James Mason guy that I'm seeing, that I just showed you guys. I've never met anybody who believes that kind of shit. But when I look online, I see that there is a subculture of that. And I don't think it's helpful. It's obviously not helpful. I think that people should be prepared for if there's some kind of collapse that's going to happen in the future. Like, if you look at people in America, like, prepping is an American pastime. In America, if you are a prepper, that's fucking cool. You know, you have like thousands of rounds of ammunition and all the dehydrated foods. You know, you're ready for a civil war. In Canada, you're not allowed to do that, apparently. Now, I don't agree with that. I think that you should be allowed to do that, and you should be allowed to do all those things in order to protect yourself from an impending collapse or whatever else is going to happen in the future. However, what I don't agree with is committing terrorist acts against racial minorities or whoever else, derailing trains or systems. I don't agree with that. And if that's what people are doing, then holy fuck, yes, I can understand why the police are cracking down upon that. However, it seems like the police are putting that upon anybody who is a pro-white activist. And at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with being pro-white. Black Lives Matter is pro-black in a way that pro-white can't even pretend or even start to be like in a modern society. Like, everything is so fucked up against white people that we're looking at a future where we're going to be very subjugated if we don't start to coalesce together and group together as a group. And I guess that's how I want to end it off. I just wanted to make that very clear. And I want to end it off on a bit more of some death metal. So I'm gonna play some more. Wait, first I'm gonna look at Entropy to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. Okay, sweet. So we have keep your head on a swivel. So we have Mr. One Dot saying, "Feel better, bud. I heard cocaine is better for nosebleeds." I don't know what that means. And then we have Keep Your Head on a Swivel saying, "Cheers, Edgy D," and saying, News on my computer is claiming Ukrainian singer broke world record for the longest kill shot. Almost 2.5 miles. Okay. And Dr. Jenstein also saying, "Take care, Edgy. Appreciate your work." Okay, sweet. Thank you, Jenstein. And thank you all. All right, well, I appreciate you all. And if I want to make one final statement, it's just that I'm trying to think about it for a second. Just be careful, because it is a huge thing that we acknowledge demographics and Jewish supremacy and power. And even the average Canadian knows that, like, mass immigration is out of control. Indians are just flooding into this country. It's gone out of control. Nobody's going to have a good future because of this system that has been bestowed upon us. It's absolutely out of control. And think about it 10 years from now for our kids. It's going to be even fucking worse. And we should be organizing with people who are organizing on racial grounds, first and foremost. It doesn't have to be pure. I'm not a pure racialist either. Like, I agree with people and I will roll with people who understand the same fundamental truths that there's a demographic displacement going on. Whether they're any color, as long as they know and they respect that I believe this and that, yeah, I'll roll with them. However, going forward in the future, just know that this kind of alienation is going to create these groups. These groups like Adamov and all this stuff, and they're going to take the most disillusioned, alienated people who might actually commit acts of terror. And they're going to use those people, and feds are usually involved with this. The feds are going to entice them to commit acts of terror and then entrap them at the last second. Sometimes they just entice them to commit acts of terror, and they do. And then they just use that going forward, and they deny their involvement with it. And that all serves the purpose of the system. Because then ultimately they get control over everybody. But I'm telling you, like, these people who commit acts of mass terror, it only helps the system. Never glorify, never sanctify them. Only tell the truth about what's going on. And then keep on helping others who are trying to create families and procreate into a better future. That's the message that I want to give out to the world right now. Alright. Fuck yeah. Let's go. Alright, thank you everybody. Thanks everybody for the support. And yeah, this show was a bit darker than usual, and I'm gonna leave you guys out with some dark death metal. Let's fucking go.